But so let's talk about employment in Oklahoma. And I found this while I was researching for the show. OESC has a very cool website tied to Tableau, which is like Google's big data processing thing. But they've got like a pretty neat thing here. So what I've got pulled up is like a bubble chart. I think that's what you call these, right? Showing employment and median wages by occupational group. And so these bubbles, the size of the bubble represents how many jobs it is, and the color of the bubble represents its wages. So lighter colored bubbles are lower wages, darker colored bubbles are higher wages. And this is on a scale of roughly 20,000 at the very low end to 87,000 at the very high end. This chart to me sums up everything about the unemployment situation, everything about how we think about economic development, and everything that's wrong with fucking America's economy. There are a shit ton of low-wage jobs. Like, if you look at the biggest ones, food preparation and service-related occupations, office and administrative support occupations, sales and related occupations, transportation and material moving. Like, these bubbles, you could probably fit every other bubble inside of. So when people say shit like, well, I saw a help wanted sign at the, whatever doctor's office and, go be a doctor or something, or we need electricians or plumbers. Yes, those jobs do pay well. But guess what? They're one of those tiny ass bubbles on this chart. Like, there are not many of them. There are 10 times as many, food service workers who have to get exposed to, like, MAGA asshole that doesn't want to wear his mask. There's 10 times as many of them as there are, business analyst or, research assistant or whatever high paid office gig you can go get. So the issue then to me becomes it's not about whether we pay too much in unemployment or whether we have a crappy enough, regulatory regime that makes these jobs even worse. It's how do we make these jobs better? And how do we raise the wage floor, whether that's minimum wage, unionization, whatever, to just make these jobs better? Like, why does the janitor have to make a starvation level wage? Why does, the person that rings up my groceries and bags them, why do they have to be like, super economically vulnerable?
Mm-hmm.
Why, why? And we don't ever ask that question. And like, we got the data like right here. Yeah, I'll share the link. Hang on a second.
It's very user friendly. Like, I could do it. I could like poke around on this website and see what was up. If that's any example for how like good this little program is that I was like, oh, look at this. I can find things.
And so, I mean, your higher paying jobs are like, management occupations, business and finance, healthcare practitioners and technicians. I mean, total employment of 100,000. But like, compare that to the bubble right next to it, which is food service, and it's 153,000, or sales, which is, 151,000, or office and administrative support, 215,000. So, I mean, and your healthcare practitioners, they're toward the high end, but they're 59,000 median income. So I just think it's very interesting to look at, what's the average wage in construction? 42,000. Education, 43,000. Production occupations, 36,000. So, I mean, with maybe two people working those jobs, you have a decent wage. But like trying to survive on a single income at $40,000 a year is pretty tough.
Yeah,
not gonna lie. Like your budget gets eaten up pretty quick.
Yeah, which is interesting because, one of the things that has been all over my social media for the past 2 weeks is that like, Americans aren't having babies. Like,
Yeah.
people are so stressed about the fact that our birth rate is like down to like 100 years. Like, it hasn't been this low in 100 years. And it's like, well, why do you think we can afford babies?
Yeah.
Like, babies are so expensive. And, it's like I was having this conversation with my boyfriend. He was like, "Oh, I really want a Tesla." And I was like, "Well, I really want a baby. They cost about the same." And he was like, "No,
Yeah.
babies are way more expensive." And I was like, I guess that's true. But it's like, it costs so much, but the pregnancy, the childbirthing experience, the amount of craziness you need, to have a baby, you have to have the crib, the blah, 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 there's just, it's so expensive. And so it's like, of course, people of my generation are like, no, we don't want to enter into this because we know how much of a commitment it is. We understand that, and we just don't have the money for it or the space.
I mean, childcare. I mean, I don't think I've ever paid less than $700 a month for like decent childcare. I mean, I suppose there is cheaper childcare out there, but I mean, that's $8,400 a year.
Yeah.
Cash out of your pocket, like not
Yeah.
counting other, So again, if you have a median income of 32,000 or 20,000, I mean, it's like damn near half your income. That's before you're paying for rent, food, clothing, et cetera,
Yeah,
et cetera,
God
et cetera.
forbid Billy wants to play soccer.
Yeah, right.
Like there's so many things that go into that. And also the problem with like, oh, well, these people aren't working jobs, or these jobs are low paying. It's like, we prioritize college so much in this country. We prioritize that like everyone needs like, I've heard that like a master's is the new bachelor's, and it's like,
Yeah.
that's insane. And so it's like, of course you don't have people going out there and trying to be like journeymen, and of course you
Yeah.
don't have people seeing the value in that. And that's probably one of the main reasons why we keep these like low skilled jobs in such low pay ranges, is because like we as a society like aren't triggered to value those. We value the darker dots. We value these things. And it's like, if we could shift our whole focus into saying like, these are the people who take care of us, these are the people who fuel us, those should be the primary, support system that we as a country uplift. And that's not the case.
Well, and you can go down here and look, I mean, and just find, I mean, like engineers. I mean, go look at all these engineering jobs. I mean, it's like there's 2,000 industrial engineers in the state. There's 740 health and safety engineers. Like yeah, there's a lot of engineers, but there's nowhere near as many as like the number of people out there.
Right.
Like, we only have 70 epidemiologists.
It's like all the people getting these like STEM degrees, right? So we're like, oh my gosh, we have to have STEM, we have to have science, technology, and math people. And then it's like, okay, well, this industry is now incredibly saturated. Like,
right.
And it's like, I, for a long time, was pursuing my master's in history, and I was like, I'm going to get a PhD and I'm going to, be this professor, just as my parents had been professors. But that is a crazy margin now. Like there's no getting a job in that industry. So it's like, there are so many people that are like, oh, you should better yourself. And it's like, okay, I bettered myself, and then there's nothing there.
Right. Yeah, you're competing with that job. And that's the funny thing is like, say we did go out and mint, 100,000 new engineers in Oklahoma. It's like, do you know what happened to the wage of engineers? It would fucking crater, like supply and demand. Like now you've got a massive supply of new engineers. And so like my argument would be is like, do we want people to serve us at restaurants? We should pay them, and we should give them health care, and we should let them raise families, and we should let them take time off, and we should let them go on vacation, all of which would be good for us. Sorry, this is going off on a wild tangent, but it's all related. No, but I mean, it's all related though to the unemployment argument, because it's, there are so many of these jobs out there that could and should be really good. And there's no way to reorient the economy to just create tons and tons of like ultra technical, high wage jobs. I mean, it's just, like there's just no way to do it. Like, I mean, it's never going to happen. We should just make all jobs pay, and people should be able to go start businesses or have jobs. I mean, like they should just be able to go do what they want to do. It shouldn't be so tied to credentialing or having a certain piece of paper or all the weird gatekeeping we do for a lot of different jobs.
Absolutely.